More Royal Caribbean ships are restarting cruises this summer, and what the heck is happening with the rest of the cruises? I've got an update on all of this up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and just the other week I was telling you all about how Adventure of the Seas is going to restart cruises this June out of Nassau, Bahamas, and we've got even more news to share about more cruise ships restarting and an update on what the heck is happening with the rest of the cruises. A lot happening this summer, so let's dive right into it. Starting with Vision of the Seas is going to be sailing out of Bermuda. So the second Royal Caribbean cruise ship to restart operations out of North America will be Vision of the Seas from Bermuda. She'll begin sailing in late June 2021, offering cruises that are 7 nights in length and only available to adults who are completely vaccinated that are at least 18 years old or older. Anyone who's under that age can still go on the cruise, but they will require a negative PCR test in order to get on board. The itinerary will start off in Bermuda, then sail down south to Perfect Day at Coco Cay, Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas, and then sail back to Bermuda. And what's kind of interesting is when she returns to Bermuda, she'll actually do an overnight in Bermuda before the cruise ends. Now, Vision of the Seas sailings just went on sale this week, and they're available to book. And the cruises start, again, as early as June 26th, 2021, and run through August of 2021. Now, as a result of Vision of the Seas moving to Bermuda this summer, the previously scheduled sailings out of San Juan, Puerto Rico are now officially canceled as well. So if you had a Vision of the Seas cruise between June 6th and August 29th, 2021, you're now eligible for either a refund or a 125% future cruise credit. Now, that's great news. Another ship sailing this summer that you can go on, and this is available to all residents of any country. So whether you're American, Mexican, British, French, Australian, I mean, it's more of a question of getting out of your home country, I suppose. But anybody can book these cruises. There's no residency restrictions. Now, on top of that, Royal Caribbean is still not done because they also announced that Jewel of the Seas will sail from Cyprus in July. Definitely a little different, but another ship will be able to sail this summer. Beginning on July 10th, Royal Caribbean said that Jewel of the Seas will sail from Limassol, Cyprus. This will be the first time a Royal Caribbean cruise ship has sailed from Cyprus as its home port, and it also will offer 7-night cruises to the Greek Isles, and those cruises will run through October of 2021. On Jewel of the Seas, you'll be able to visit places like Athens, Rhodes, Crete, Mykonos, and Santorini, and these Jewel of the Seas cruises will go on sale beginning April 7th. Now, just like Vision of the Seas and Adventure of the Seas, guests who are 18 years old or older are required to be fully vaccinated by the time they go on the cruise. Anyone under the age of 18, of course, will still have to get a negative PCR test. But the full details, by the way, for both Adventure, Vision, and now Jewel of the Seas, all the health protocols and safety measures to expect, like what the changes are going to be on board, we still don't know that yet. We'll get them at a later date, according to Royal Caribbean. So with Jewel of the Seas restarting cruises, that makes now 4 ships that will absolutely sail this summer, in addition to, of course, Quantum of the Seas, which has been sailing now since December 2020, and that is Odyssey of the Seas from Haifa, Israel, Adventure of the Seas from Nassau, Bahamas, Vision of the Seas from Bermuda, and now Jewel of the Seas from Cyprus. And this is fantastic news. But of course, many of you are watching this say, Matt, what is going on with the rest of the fleet? What about June cruises? What about July cruises? What about cruises from the US and the UK? And unfortunately, I hate to be the one to tell you this, we still don't know. Royal Caribbean and all the entire cruise industry is trying to figure out what is going to happen. The biggest issue, let's start with the US first. The biggest issue is the CDC. And the tone of the discussions now that Royal Caribbean and the entire cruise industry is taking has changed immensely. Just a couple of weeks ago, cruise lines were trying to take, listen, we're working with the CDC. We're hopeful for some answers soon. But now recently that has shifted. And the industry seems to be taking a more proactive and reactive approach to the CDC basically doing nothing. Now, again, we're only looking at this from the outside looking in, so no one has the true inside track on this. It certainly isn't a cruise executive. However, from what we can tell, basically the CDC has done a whole lot of nothing. When the CDC proposed its framework for conditional sail order back in October, they outlined 4 phases for cruise ships to be able to possibly resume service. Sounds great. The problem is, since October of 2020, there has been absolutely, positively zero progress. We're still in phase 1, and no cruise line has received any kind of update about when the heck they can expect certain things. That's why we haven't seen test cruises or even any announced revenue cruises. and essentially nothing but more cancellations. So, what to expect going forward? Well, there's a lot more pressure now coming from different representatives of local and state government to try to force the CDC's hand. We've seen a lot of public statements, bills even introduced by senators, representatives, governors, and now the cruise industry itself asking everybody to call on the CDC to do something, to either to lift the conditional sail order by July, so that way cruise ships can resume service, or to at least get the cruise lines going in terms of test cruises and live up to the promise of that conditional sail order that everybody agreed to back in October of 2020. The issue for the cruise lines is they need to have some kind of runway to get ready. You can't just snap your fingers and get cruise ships going again. This is the bigger problem in the short term, especially in terms of knowing what the CDC has in mind. If cruise lines wanted to sail in July, which they do, they would need a couple months to get everything going. They can't just decide on June 30th, oh, you know what, we're going to offer cruises in July. They need some ramp up time for that. And that's also adding to the complexity because no matter what the CDC does, if they were ever to lift it or provide an avenue for cruises to restart, the industry needs a little bit of a heads up. And it looks like, quite frankly, there's just not a whole lot of conversation going on, or at least substantial conversation to that point. But again, a lot of this is still very much rooted in hearsay, second, third-hand conversations that people are reporting on, so it remains to be seen. But the industry as a whole is now really, I think, coming together to try to move that needle a little bit more in the direction of cruises being restarted. But if you have a cruise booked for this summer, or this fall, quite frankly, no one still knows the answer as to whether your cruise is going to sail or not. There's just not enough information out there to make any kind of decision. For me personally, I'm looking at these new cruises on Adventure, Jewel, and Vision of the Seas primarily, of course, Odyssey and Israel notwithstanding, that there's an opportunity now to go on a cruise. Now, certainly if you live in countries like Canada or Australia, you're kind of out of luck in a lot of cases because your government's not going to allow you to travel. But as an American, and also for Brits out there, there's an opportunity now to go on cruise ships this summer, which is something that I think even a couple of weeks ago seemed unfathomable, right? Inconceivable. Here comes the meme in this video. It's exactly what we were hoping for, but now we can actually go on one. And listen, I got to fly to go to the cruise ship. Not ideal, especially to fleur it in because we are a spoiled bunch and it's nice having a cruise ship out of our backyard. But at this point, after 12, 13 plus months of no cruises, sign me up. I can't wait. Now, something else to keep an eye on is the UK. So a lot of cruise lines, not Royal Caribbean yet, but a lot of cruise lines have announced restart operations in the UK because their government has opened up a pathway for that to occur. Now, Celebrity Cruises just this week announced they will send a ship out of the UK this summer. And of course, that means that they had to cancel existing sailings and reconfigure everything. But perhaps there's an opportunity for Royal Caribbean to do the same. Royal Caribbean has not said much of anything about the UK, but since every other cruise line is doing it, and of course, also Royal Caribbean has clearly demonstrated they're willing to, rearrange their ships outside North America in order to sail there, perhaps there's an opportunity as well as in England. I'll keep an eye on that over at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for you as well. But I want to hear in the comments what you think. Will you book any of these new sailings on Jewel of the Seas, Vision of the Seas, or the aforementioned Adventure of the Seas? Or how about Odyssey? How about our Singapore viewers over in Singapore? We're going to go on Quantum of the Seas. You've got choices out there. I'd love to know if you're going to be planning a summer 2021 cruise on one of these, or are you still holding out hope for one of the scheduled cruises that you've got on the books for later this summer? Let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on your notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know when we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.